Hey guys, and welcome to episode 9 of Quantifiably Bitchy. I am your host, Raquella, and today we're going to watch season 1, episode 9 of Hannibal, Trou Normand. Now, before we get started, I want you to know that I already filmed like the first 15 minutes of this podcast with my fan on, and it was so loud, and I'm so pissed, but it's fine. It's fine. We're here. We're going to do it again. Before we get started, we can go over some brief housekeeping items. Follow me everywhere: YouTube, TikTok, Blue Sky, Instagram, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Again, Linktree in bio. Go ahead and follow me. Also, I went to see Dust Bunny last week with my husband. We went to the Charles Theater in Baltimore, which is a wonderful historical theater. If you're in the area, check it out. There's a really good tapas place next door too. But we saw Dust Bunny when it premiered, and I loved it. I loved it so much. My husband loved it too. I'm more of a Hannibal fan. He is really into Pushing Daisies. I love both shows, but that's definitely more his style. And he was obsessed with the movie. He thought it felt like Pushing Daisies as far as like the colors and the maximalism and this kind of magical realism element, which I think is a staple to Fuller's style. So he loved it, and I loved it because while I love Pushing Daisies, I also love the movie Leon the Professional, and it definitely was heavily inspired by that, in my opinion. Check it out if you want to. It has Natalie Portman. She's 10 years old. It's by the same guy that directed The Fifth Element. He's awful. Shocking. Some director from a million years ago is a terrible person now. So yeah, go check it out. It's just, if you love a story about like a grumpy old man and like a little girl go on an adventure and have to like learn things about each other, The Professional is like that. It's a much more serious story, but Dust Bunny is also like that. And it's just injected with just the fun quirkiness of Fuller. So we get to explore these themes like grief and loneliness and just like the hardships of being a little kid and like misunderstood through the lens of this kind of fun monster story. Definitely check it out. The whole cast rocks it. Sophie Sloane just steals the show. Like, she's so good. I want to see it again. I feel like with Fuller stuff, you have to watch it at least like 5 times because you know there's just going to be layers to it. But for my first watch, I loved it and I can't wait to see it again. So you guys should check that out. I hope you guys are having a nice December. I'm getting my ass kicked. Just like even today, like my chair broke. So if I slowly sink in the shot today, mind your business. It's my broken ass chair. I ordered a new one, but it's not coming till next week. So whatever. My husband and I decided to do just like little Christmas gifts this year because we want to save our money and go on vacation next year because everything is terrible. But look what he got me. I like, be so serious. It's like a tiny Frederick Chilton. It came in this like with this Hannibal blind box. It's called the Aperitif Collection. It has like everybody. It even has like, there's like a Garrett Jacob Hobbs. Like, who wants that? I do, but it's the silliest thing. Like, why is his head so hyper realistic? Fuck, it's so funny. He nailed it with this. I want them all. I like really want the Freddie Lounds now. But isn't that adorable? Now that that's all done and dusted, let's go ahead and watch season 1, episode 9, Trou Normand. All right, opening shot. What do we see? It's Jack walking by the sea or the ocean. He is walking by this cold looking beach in a jacket and a hat. And whenever I see a man contemplating by the ocean, it's like Walt Whitman. It's like Moby Dick. It's like the lighthouse. It's just, why do they do that? But it's a beautiful shot. But I can't help but roll my eyes whenever I see a man like thinking by the beach. Or doing anything, to be honest, but like especially thinking by the beach. We find out they're in West Virginia and Will Graham's there popping in aspirin because he's doing so well. Super, super healthy, much health. And we see this crazy crime scene. It is this totem pole made of like decomposed bodies and there's graves around them. So they dug them up and then built them into this like grotesque totem pole. We're immediately met with the science throuple and Jimmy Price is like, where are the corners in this puzzle? Like, a good puzzle all has corners. And of course, Brian Zeller's like, huh? And then Beverly doesn't miss a beat. And she's like, there's too many corners. There's this many corpses and a million more heads. It's just really seamless, funny dialogue. And it's obvious they all work around each other all day long and they just share a brain cell. Brian Zeller stays confused. Too many heads. Will Graham in his slutty little winter outfit. The only recent victim is this headpiece on the top. Everyone else is just old corpses. So we got a serial killer on our hands and he hasn't struck in a long time until now. This serial killer likes to defile his victims, which we know the Ripper does too. He killed them, buried them, dug them back up, and then had to defile them once more. And then Jack's like, everybody out. Will's got to stand in the map. He's got to get in the scene, clear out. So stupid. This beautiful shot with Will and then the totem pole in the back. And then we flip it to Will. And then we have Jack blurred in the back, who is always influencing him. Love this shot. Glasses off. And then the lighting changes. And we're there. We are in the scene. The music's really good because it's like you can kind of hear a heartbeat in your ear. And it feels like it's in your own ear, especially if you're wearing headphones like me. But it heightens the adrenaline and the emotion and the scariness of the scene. This moment was very planned. This was absolutely premeditated. We collected all the materials in advance. We planned out this grotesque art. Well, why? If there's a purpose and it's meticulous and it was like obviously done with a reason, why? The latest victim, the new one, he saves him for last, and he wants him to watch him build this crazy piece of art. He wants him to know his design. Will is so dramatic. That is so dramatic. I want him to know my design. I can't. And then we see Will stab the newest victim, the guy that ends up being the head on the top of the totem pole. And then we pan slowly up the top, seeing all the victims, how intricately they're tied, all the different kinds of knots. This is a man that knows how to use knots. And then the head at the top. It's scary. Brian Fuller and team do not shy away from a giant prop. Like, this isn't the first time we've gotten a big prop, like even with the cello last episode and even the mushroom bodies. Like, everything is interesting and big and just grand, and this is huge. It's the biggest one yet, I think. This is my resume. This is my body of work. This is my legacy. This is my design. Oh my God. And then Will's suddenly in Hannibal's lobby. And he's like, how did I get here? Will loses time. He just is in West Virginia and now he's in Baltimore with Hannibal. You're disassociating, Will. This is a great episode for a lot of reasons, and we'll see it as we continue on. But Hannibal really is manipulative this episode. He is constantly having to shift the narrative so that he doesn't get caught, or, Will can't be onto him or onto himself and his own illness. Hannibal is taking the wheel in this episode, as we will see. And Hannibal's like, this can happen if you've been abused. And Will's like, I'm not abused. It's so dramatic. It's so dramatic. And he's like, you have an empathy disorder. It is overwhelming for how you feel. He's like, ignoring how this job affects you is the abuse. You're abusing yourself. And Jack Crawford is abusing you too. And Will is always for the greater good. At this point, he's like, I save lives. I save lives. It's important what I do, no matter how bad it hurts me. And Hannibal's like, I'm your friend. He loves saying that. He loves saying that. He's like, I care about you and your life and how this is affecting you. I think the beautiful thing about Hannibal is how caring he is and how he chooses to love his friends, because there is a deep love there. And Will's sitting there like this. Oh, God. He's like, I've been sleepwalking. But yeah, anyway, as I was saying, Hannibal cares about his friends hard. He also plays with them like toys, but I think we can hold space for both things. Because Will's like, I think I need to get a brain scan. Because, spoiler alert, he has encephalitis, right? And Hannibal's like, stop! No brain scan, because Hannibal can smell the encephalitis. So he's wanting to see this play out, and he doesn't want Will to get diagnosed, because then all the fun is gone. He's so crazy. And he's like, stop looking in the wrong corner for these answers. He really tricks him and like manipulates his trust here, I think. Not I think, I know. Hannibal's like, tell me about that crime scene. Let's change the subject. And Hannibal determines that because Will was faced with such a traumatizing scene, he lost time and his brain is fucking with him. And he's losing himself in this empathy disorder. What if he hurts himself? I don't want you to wake up and see a totem of your own making. Hannibal plays these people like a fucking fiddle. And it's so interesting because Will is really smart, but he's so vulnerable that he falls for Hannibal's like kindness. And then we pan to Abigail Hobbs in therapy, looking all sad and talking about how her dad killed people. She plays like doe-eyed so good, and like it's very annoying, but just because she's so good at it. I don't trust people like this in real life. Who are just like, but like, we'll fuck your shit up. And it's revealed that it is either a dream or hallucination, and all of Garrett Jacob Hobbs' victims are confronting Abigail, being like, this is your fault. You should have just let him kill you so he wouldn't kill me. How selfish. We get this soft lighting like we often do with Abigail. It makes you just make her feel innocent. And then she's faced with Nicholas, who she killed. I think his name is Nicholas. And it's a dream. She's been haunted by dreams. Her and Will are like so haunted, and like Hannibal is just all up in that shit. Jack and Will meet, and he apologizes about yesterday. And Jack's like, what the fuck are you talking about? And it's like, oh no, he just like left, and like nobody thought it was weird because it probably wasn't weird. And Jack couldn't give a fuck. He's like, you weren't feeling like yourself? Isn't that like your job to like be in other people's heads? God damn. And Jack's like, is there something you want to tell me or not? And of course, Will lies. And because Jack is a good FBI agent, he's like, there's something you don't want to tell me, obviously. And Will reveals that all of the bodies affected him, and it was a bad day for him. And he was like, it wasn't obvious. Jack doesn't care. Jack is always putting it on Will. He's like, if there's a problem, you need to tell me, instead of when Jack sees problems with Will, because Will didn't say so, then we're just going to keep going, which is crazy logic. For someone that's so scared to lose him, like the way he lost Miriam last, like he is still pushing him so hard. We're back with Abigail Hobbs at her little psychiatric facility with Freddie Lowndes. Uh-oh, my girl, what could she possibly be plotting? Abigail has to sell her family house, her murder house, but won't get any money for it because wrongful death suits. And that is how Freddie Lowndes tries to manipulate Abigail into writing a book. She wants that book deal bad. She wants that paycheck. She wants that bag. And that's why we fuck with Freddie Lowndes. But this is a bad idea. Obviously, Abigail Hobbs has fucking secrets. The one thing about Abigail Hobbs is that in her, or like her whole life, it's just adults manipulating her around her, and just her having to respond to that environment. So I do think that's an important part of her character to understand. Because Freddie is like, I want you to tell your story. I want to help you tell your story. But obviously it's going to be a mess. But Freddie doesn't really care about like the consequences of these actions. She's always just going forward for the story. And everyone seems to think that Abigail helped her dad kill those girls. She's like, everyone will know the truth if you write a book, which is like not how it works. But Abigail's desperate and now has no money. And she's like, sure, let's do it. So we see Will Graham teaching in his classroom, going over the current crime in his little conversation pit of a classroom, and how this current victim was meant to be put on a pedestal, was meant to be displayed. And like, why is the killer coming out now? But then we cut the lighting changes. We find out he was talking to an empty room the whole time. He's hallucinating this class. He's really starting to lose his mind. And Dr. Bloom is like, are you rehearsing? Are you good? Can I come see you? And he's like, yeah, I'm just losing my mind. This is a really good Will Graham hair. Like really, really good Will Graham hair. And this outfit is fucking great. And Dr. Bloom's wearing one of those rayon dresses that I hate, but she's fine as hell, so I will let it slide. She's like, it's very moody in here. The stance of him sitting on the desk, like, I understand why Hannibal wants this man so bad. Me too, babe. Me too. He's like, I promise I won't try to kiss you again. Don't ever make that promise to me, Will Graham. Never. And Dr. Bloom's like, a doctor who treats herself as a fool for a patient. Maybe I should have kissed you. She's like, I regretted leaving your house. And Will immediately clocks it. He's like, regretted, as in you no longer regret. Because the punches just keep coming. She's like, I go back and forth. I want you. It's a bad idea. I want you. It's a bad idea. I agree. She's so pretty and so soft. And it's just like so feminine in this first season. So very like traditionally so. He's like, are you trying to confuse me? And she's like, no, I'm just trying to be honest. I won't lie if you don't. Hannibal likes making those promises. Oh my God. I won't lie if you don't. And then he like gives her these like puppy dog eyes. Girl, bye. That won't work on me. Dr. Bloom admits she has feelings for him, but she can't just have an affair. It would be real love. He's like, why? Girl, let's just fuck. And then she says something deeply hurtful, but like not untrue. She's like, I think you're deeply unstable, babe. And she's like, until that changes, I can only be your friend. I remember the first time watching this, I was like, I want it to change. I want them to be together. I'm an idiot. Just don't worry, I get there. I got there. We're good. And she's like, do you feel unstable? And he's like, yeah. And she gives him a hug, and it's a sweet moment because it's very obvious he like really just needed a hug. Sometimes you just need a hug. And he hugs her tight. I am jealous. And then we cut to Hannibal and Will and Abigail at the psychiatric facility, and they're both pissed about this book, but they're trying to be kind to her because she's a child, but they're like, please don't write this book. And Freddie was like, Abigail's like, Freddie really wants me to write about you guys in the book. No, duh. And Will is coming from a place of like, please don't do this. Like, it's a bad idea. And Hannibal's like, please don't do this. It's a bad idea and we'll get us caught. Like, I hit a body with you. Like, don't go to the press. Like, that's how you get caught. But she's a child. We have to remember she's a child. And Abigail hits him with the, just because you killed my dad doesn't mean you get to be him. Okay. Attitude. And Hannibal brings up a good point, being like, if you write about it, you write about all of us. Like, you don't get to pick and choose. And she's like, I don't need your permission, which I think just puts you back in the mindset that she's a child. And it's like, yeah, you don't. Then why are you asking us then? And she doesn't have an answer for it because she's a child. She's definitely hiding something. She's clever. She's tricky, but she's still a child. Her brain is not fully developed yet, you know? If you open this door, Abigail, you will not control what comes through. And Hannibal's right about that. And like, you can see Abigail like about to cry just from talking about it. It's like, girl, how are you ever gonna publish a book? And then we see somebody digging up something in the snow with a pickaxe. What is it? Oh, it's Nicholas Boyle. Who's digging him up? I can't. Will has determined that the totem pole was built in Grafton, West Virginia for a reason. Totem poles are supposed to like honor and tell the story of something, of a life. Will determines that the people on the lowest on the totem pole were killed first. It's in chronological order as we go up. William Grafton is the first body. He was murdered and his grave was robbed many years ago. Will determines there's going to be a connection between Joel Summers and Fletcher Marshall, the newest and the oldest victim. Just this nice circle tying it together. We find out that Nicholas Boyle turned up in Minnesota dead. His body was found in the woods, dead and frozen. Wonder who put it there. They can't tell when he died because of the freezing of the body, which is a great little trick. And Jack's like, I had the body flown down here. I want Abigail Hobbs now, and I want her to fucking look at the body and talk about it. One thing Jack Crawford is going to do is torture a child. Dr. Bloom is immediately against this. So is Will. I do think it's really interesting that Jack is like, no, she's involved in this crime, and is like very adamant about it, because a lot of shit gets talked about Jack Crawford, but we need to remember that he's right about a lot of things. There's just people influencing him and tricking him on purpose. Like, Hannibal does drive this narrative throughout the episode. And again, we get that, you know, he's right. He's a good detective. Like, he is a good FBI agent. He's considered one of the best. The person he is based off of is somebody who's like one of the best profilers. So he knows what he's doing, and he does stand 10 toes down on this. Where Hannibal knows the truth, and Will doesn't want to believe that she is capable of it. Innocence, a child, it cannot be corrupted, but he's wrong, obviously. And Dr. Bloom is, again, 10 toes down, being like, this is a bad idea. And she's always going to Hannibal for support, and he is always denying her, which I think is, a great funny detail. She's like, don't you agree, Hannibal? And he's like, Jack can't be convinced, so, oh well. I'm curious if it was because he's just like, I just want Abigail to get caught at this point. Like, I'm fucking done. Or if he trusts her to trick Jack. And Will's like, you're not, Jack is like, Will, you cannot be objective about this girl right now. And he's right. And Will's like, this could really hurt her. And Hannibal's like, she could be stronger than you think. Which is true. But she's also a child and like still kind of unstable. We get Dr. Bloom in this red ensemble. It sticks out. Everyone else kind of blends in because she does not believe in what's happening here. This is a great scene too, because we know that Abigail did kill Nicholas Boyle, and she's so convincingly just able to pull off being scared and sad about it. So it's like, under this logic, like up until this point, I genuinely thought she wasn't involved in her dad's murders, but this scene makes me question it because she's clearly capable of lying. And Jack doesn't stray. He makes her stare at the dead body. He makes her confront it. He doesn't give her the softness that everyone else gives and that she kind of depends on to lie. Casey role plays this really great because she really convinced me that she was innocent when I first watched it. Like, Jack doesn't pull any punches. He's like, he was gutted with a hunting knife. And guess what, babe? You know how to do that. And Dr. Bloom keeps trying to be like, all right, I'm cutting in. And Jack's like, you're a guest, so you can leave. There's the door, bitch. Jack's like, where do you go when you escape from the hospital? I love her answer because she's like, sometimes the city, sometimes the woods. What kind of fucking answer is that? Sometimes just out. She's such a teenager. And this is true. Like, she definitely tries to get away from it. And like, some of this pain is real. I think Abigail channels her real pain into like very good manipulation. And Abigail's like, I didn't die in that house. I survived. Everyone's so dramatic this episode, like, obviously. But it does kind of show you like the fire in her. And she's like, I've only seen him in my nightmares. Dramatic ass scene. And he knows she's lying. And nobody believes him. And Dr. Bloom is pissed. Dr. Bloom is formidable, but Jack is the beast. He's just a powerhouse. It is revealed, though, that Dr. Bloom's like, she's lying about something, but this was not the way to go about it. And Dr. Bloom brings up a good point. And I think this is like such an important moment where she's like, I know Abigail's lying, but I trust Hannibal, who claims to have been there, right? So like, I trust Hannibal, which is her mistake. He has no reason to lie about any of this. Wrong. Cut to Hannibal looking out the window at Abigail's psychiatric hospital, all this blue. He's in the window. You see his silhouette. It's a great moment. It just shows you like the power, the darkness of Hannibal, the influence in this situation, I think. And Hannibal's like, I get why you wanted to see the dead body. He was a monster. And Abigail's like, babe, no, I just stabbed him. He's not a monster. Are you, Abigail? Hannibal playing mind games with this poor child. That's a child! And Hannibal's like, is that why you dug him up? Is this going to be in your book? And she's like, maybe I'll write about you hiding the body in it. And it's like, girl, don't fuck with this man. You has a grown adult. Abigail sees it as control. She's like, I won't panic about people finding him because he will be found. He's already found. I already did it. Nicely done. But it doesn't matter because she betrayed Hannibal's trust and jeopardized his life. And that's it for Hannibal. That's the line, right? So I think in this moment, Abigail kind of seals her fate. Hannibal lays it on thick, the guilt. He's like, I can't trust you. What if I can? I'm supposed to be able to. We find out the victim is the son of the first victim. So we find out Joel Summers is the son of Fletcher Marshall, and he was adopted because his dad died. But there was no DNA match. We find out that the mom was killed in a car accident a couple years ago. And they're like, okay, if it wasn't an car accident, like if it was a purposeful car accident, why wasn't she on the totem pole? And Will's like, because obviously she plays a different part. Maybe she was loved. Everyone on this totem pole was hated. We find out that Lawrence Wells was questioned about the murder, but he was never charged, and he still lives in Grafton, West Virginia. And Will determines that Fletcher Marshall, the first murder, was a crime of passion. The other ones were different. This one had motive. So they go to the home of Lawrence Wells, and he's sitting in a leather chair. All of his belongings are packed up behind him in boxes. It's like he expected them. And he's like, I knew you'd find me eventually, because Mr. Wells let him find them. Let them find him. He confesses to the murder of Joel Summers and Fletcher Marshall and 15 others. So he killed Joel Summers with the intention of him being caught, because he was never meant to be, whatever that means. He doesn't give really motives for killing others. He's like, I had to do it. They never saw me coming unless they wanted to see me coming. It's very like BTK killer, where it's like he fit into the community. He was a pillar of the community, but he was able to manipulate them and kill them without them seeing coming. And he gets off basically being like killing people and then going to their funerals and being like, I made it happen. And Jack and Will are like, you're going to be in prison for the rest of your life. And he's like, I'm old and poor. Like, that's better than any nursing home I'll ever be in. And for a moment, it feels really unsatisfying. He's securing his legacy. Will was so right about that. And he's like, I won't be forgotten in prison for my legacy, for my crazy story. Legacy is really important to this man, and Will really hits him with the 1-2 punch here. Will is like, children are the real way to have a legacy, right? And he's like, did Joel know his father? No, because we find out that he killed Joel Marshall thinking he was Fletcher Marshall's son, but it was his son. The woman he loved, he thought was having Fletcher Marshall's baby. Nope. It was his baby, and she chose to raise him as another man's baby because he's awful. And that just guts him. He just drives it fucking home. It's very satisfying, and like Jack is really loving the moment. He's like, this is why I hired this man. Your first act of a father was to destroy your son. How fucking Shakespearean was that? And the guy's just like, Oh, he's so mad. He's so mad. Such a good scene. Cut to Will in REM sleep at his house. You can see the alarm clock in the background. You can see his eyes moving back and forth, indicating that he's dreaming. He is dreaming about Abigail being like, does killing feel bad? I'm worried about nightmares. He's sweating, he's twitching, he's not sleeping well. Like, we're seeing this man struggle with these demons. And he goes to the FBI the next day to examine the body of Nicholas Boyle. He steps into the map, he steps into the eyes of the killer, and ding, 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 realizes Abigail killed him. And he is sad about it. Look at this fit. Look at this Will Graham fit. It's like tucked in all the way. I can't. And he realizes that Abigail is not what she seems. And we cut to Hannibal sketching in his office, playing some really beautiful classical music, just having a really sensory-friendly evening for him when Will comes in to see him. Another treat. Hello, Will. Abigail Hobbs killed Nicholas Boyle, and Hannibal's like, yeah, I know. Catch up. This is a good scene. Hannibal reveals I helped her dispose of the body because I was protecting her, Will. We're protecting her. We're her fathers now. And instead of being pissed, he's like, you didn't do it well enough. They found the body. But he didn't tell Jack because he was hoping it wasn't true. Aw, sweet baby. Oh, you see Hannibal playing with his scalpel because, of course, he sharpens his pencils with a scalpel. Fucking dramatic. Another moment where Hannibal is manipulating the narrative, manipulating the situation, doing a lot of spinning to keep his shit together. And he's like, I'm protecting her from Jack because if Jack suspects that she killed Nicholas Boyle, then he's going to blame her for all of her father's crimes. He's going to hang her because she's alive and the dad is dead. And Hannibal's like, she's no more a killer than you or me. And like, we've both killed people. And it's like, yeah, but you're both killers. So a nice little line. And Will's like, you don't get to decide if it's okay or not. There's good and there's bad and there's no in between, which we know is wrong. But it is his mindset in this first season. And then Hannibal kind of slowly changes it throughout. And he's like, we got to look out for her. We got to look out for her better than Garrett Jacob Hobbs did, than Jack is, everybody. But Hannibal's scared. Hannibal's scared Will's going to turn him in. If you go to Jack, you're going to murder Abigail's future. Hannibal lays it on really thick this episode. Just makes everyone feel really bad all the time to not make stupid decisions. And it works. I love this scene because it's... Hannibal's so vulnerable at the time. He's like, do I need to call my lawyer, Will? Which, pause. I want to meet Hannibal's lawyer. He should have called Hannibal's lawyer because if Hannibal's therapist is Bedelia, what is his lawyer like? Brian Fuller, I'm begging you, if we get to season 4, I want to meet the lawyer. I want to meet the lawyer so bad. Cast someone fun for it, please. Okay, thank you. And Will's like, no, you don't have to call your lawyer, but we have to keep this a fucking secret. Duh! Oh, Hannibal gives him like a really good like face too. As best as he can. We can tell nobody. And now they have a secret that binds them. This is the best currency for Hannibal, honestly. He puts his arm on Will's shoulder. Oh, this is a good scene. Will doesn't really like to be touched, I imagine, but like, this is like the Alana hug, but in Hannibal's words. Poor Will. He's like really going through it so bad. I can't emphasize enough how many good scenes are in this episode. We get dinner at Hannibal's house with Freddie Lowndes, Abigail Hobbs, Will, and Hannibal. And Will is pissed about it. I love when him and Freddie interact because it is just like diva on diva crime every time. Will is pissed. He's wearing his glasses. He's got his armor on. Freddie is eating a salad. She doesn't eat meat. Interesting. Will is really pissed that Freddie keeps calling him insane in printed media. Fucking hilarious. And she's like, the libel laws are clear, baby. Like, I'm good. Nice try. Insinuation is such a gray area. Insane really isn't black or white, is it? We're all pathological in our own ways. That's one thing I also love about Freddie is she's like, we're all crazy. Like, pay attention. Y'all think you're better than me, but like, we're all nuts. She's right. Everybody decides their own version of the truth. And I think that's so true to an extent, you know, like everyone has their truth of how they remember it. And she's like, Betty's like, I'm going to do my best to tell her story. And Abigail's so stupid. She's like, I don't have anything to hide. And it's like, everyone has something to hide, babe. You're human. We all have secrets. Freddie promises she won't tell anything that Abigail doesn't want. And it's just like, yeah. Abigail needs to stop trusting these adults. Oh my God. They all claim to want what's best for Abigail, but do they? Do they? I think Will wants the most what's best, but I do think he's also like dealing with his own father trauma with all of that too. And Freddie's such a bitch. She's like, This is the best salad I ever had. Shame to ruin it with all that meat. Girl, you've eaten people too, let's be real. And then cut to Hannibal and Abigail doing the dishes together. And Abigail's like, Will knows, doesn't he? He knows that I killed Nicholas Boyle. Yes, baby. Both of your dads know. Hannibal kind of calls Will out here. He's like, Will keep your secret because he doesn't want you to be portrayed as like bad. You're the only nice, good thing in his life. Like he's not going to taint it for himself, which is incredibly selfish. And I don't think Will realizes it, but I do think it's his like pathological need to believe in the good of others. And Abigail kind of shatters that mirror for him. But then Abigail has a breakdown and is like, I helped my dad kill those people. I helped him. And this shocked the shit out of me the first time I watched it. Shocked me so bad. I really thought she was innocent because I'm an idiot. And like, this is why I definitely don't work for the FBI. But Hannibal knows. Hannibal knows because he's a good psychiatrist. And I am not a psychiatrist at all. Such a good reveal. This is so fun. It's like the end of the episode. But it's important to remember she helps him because she was like, it was them or me. And it's like this trauma response because, again, she's a child. And it's her father. Like, you have to, they were close and he was crazy. So another instance of an adult like manipulating her and her just listening. It's like Abigail Hobbs is just never in control of her own life, not ever. And I guess in her mind, the book was a way to take control. She's just grasping at control. Like, she is still a victim, you know, even if she is crazy, scary, and manipulative and like did kill a person. Again, we're getting this kind of, what is moral? Like, was she justified in doing it? Does this make her a bad person? Does it make her a killer? We're just constantly being attacked with these same themes between Will, Hannibal, Abigail, everybody that's committed a murder, even Jack. It's like, are these good or bad people? Hannibal's kind of like It's Always Sunny, where like everyone is just bad. Everyone is crazy. Everyone is bad. There is no good. We get a lot of hugs this episode. Hannibal hugs Abigail and it's with care. He's like rubbing her hair and is just like, I knew you helped your dad. I was wondering when you would tell me. I'm a monster. We love the word monster in this series, and I think it's because Fuller loves a good monster story, right? And of unconventional or otherwise. What is a monster? What makes a monster so? And well, Hannibal promises to protect her, but can we trust him? Trust no one in the Hanniverse. And we get this nice montage of Abigail befriending these victims and making them feel safe and helping her dad pick his next meal, essentially. Garrett Jacob Hobbs, actor, getting paid in another episode. Get your money, boy. And you watch Abigail recruit these victims and you can tell she's scared doing it. Like, you see the vulnerability on her face. And I do think that fear is real. It's just she is also able to commit these like crazy crimes. And then the episode ends. It ends on this like black and white cutscene of a memory of Abigail recruiting girls so her father can kill and eat them. It's such a good episode. I think it's a Hannibal focused episode. We get a lot of Abigail. It's Abigail and Hannibal. We get Will with his struggling with his encephalitis, his mental illness, his trauma, and I think the overarching theme is just Hannibal trying to control every single narrative and how kind of hard it is to keep up these lies, but he does succeed. He is a master at it, and he's never to be underestimated because he's starting to feel kind of unkillable in this moment. And I think that goes on as the series does too, but we're getting these seeds that planted now that Hannibal's like this really formidable opponent. And the episode ends. Always a good episode. This has so many layers to it. It's another example of how the procedural element is just kind of a backstory. It's how we get to watch characters interact with each other, the main characters and the ensemble cast, and to learn about them, where it's like the murders that they're solving themselves and those stories are not important. It's how our characters, the ones that we know, handle them. So yeah, season 1, episode 9. In a couple episodes, it'll be the finale, and then it'll be a year since I've done this. I can't believe that we approach a year in a couple months. Maybe I'll do something fun for it. But subscribe to me everywhere. My link tree is in my bio. Sub for my YouTube, sub to my podcast. I'm on Buzzsprout. I'm on Apple Podcasts, and I'm on Spotify. There is a video version on YouTube, and there are audio versions as well. I recommend the audio version because you can see my beautiful face and all of the screenshots that I attach as well. But pick your poison. And again, link tree in my bio. I will see you guys in a month. I hope you have an amazing holiday and New Year. I hope it goes by quick, and I hope that everyone's nice to you and you get what you want. Love you. Bye.